Mills fashions a kick back towards the wing for Lady! Left now, lines them up. It's coming back. Cox is the biggest man there.
G'day, welcome back to Red Time. Jarryd Barca, Mason Cox here again, back in the studio for another week to talk some footy, Mace. Welcome.
It's good to be back, as always.
Yes, back by popular demand, as they say. Is that what they say?
Yeah, we're still waiting to get your name on the television behind us, but we'll get there. Due time. You just got to earn it, I think.
I've not earned it yet.
No, you've earned it. You've run this podcast.
It's a big call. Yeah, it's a big call. I'm a bit stunned by that, actually. I don't know what to say. Yeah, that's outrageous.
We won't talk about what we said
yeah.
for the podcast around the names. My last name and everything else, but here we go.
We'll leave that. Massive episode to get to. This is a big run sheet.
Lots to
cover. It's a big run sheet.
Lots to cover.
This might... I don't want to say it might be the best one yet, but we'll wait till the end. But this is a massive run sheet. There's a lot to get through. Don't really want to waste too much time, but I do need to ask you, Jack Crisp. So he's breaking the consecutive games record this weekend.
Yep.
Has he been wrapped up in cotton wool this week? Is he wearing the pink hat so no one touches him at training?
We still have one more training session to go, so until that...
So keep your eye out for him.
Yeah, I think he'd be jogging around, nothing too crazy. But the thing is, the reason he's played so many games in a row is because he's got a high professional standard. So can't imagine anything kind of squirrely would happen. But it is a huge accomplishment. And especially, you think about the person that holds the record right now, Jim Steins. Very well-respected person in the AFL community and has been for a long time. Unfortunately, everyone knows the story behind what's happened with him. But hopefully, he gets some credit for what he's been able to accomplish. And then, Jack Crisp also gets that too.
Oh, I should have done this before the episode started. The AFL released an article, I don't know if you've seen it today, of what the world was like when Jack Crisp last missed a game of footy. It's funny, it's like Pendles has played 180 games. Bonzapelli's played 10. Gout's 6 years old.
6 years old?
It's so good.
He came into the club at the same time as me, I think, and he hasn't missed a game pretty much since he came in.
It's nuts. That's crazy. So, yeah, massive achievement. He's not the only pie we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Steele, Sidebottom and Scott Pendlebury. Somehow they're still going at age, whatever they are, 40 and 50, dominating games of footy. So we're going to talk about those two boys as well and just how they're doing what they're doing. We're going to talk about our most improved players through 7 rounds of footy. The AFL draft, whether that should maybe evolve or change on the back of what the NFL were able to do with their draft last week. Some bold predictions at the end, as we always do as well. But we want to start with the big news of the week, which is Paul Curtis and his 3-match suspension. We don't want to reheat old soup. It's been spoken about ad nauseum in the industry, but I do want your perspective and your gut feel, I guess, when you watch this incident. What's your immediate reaction? And then when you see the tribunal uphold that 3-match ban for that tackle.
Yeah, we've had a conversation about this previously, and it's a lot about now they're adjudicating it based on outcome rather than just the action.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, if you do adjudicate it by the action, you punish that at a heavy kind of 3-week, suspension like this has been, then the outcome becomes minimalized because less people are doing it. So I think from my perspective, that's the biggest thing. We do play a contact game. I have to acknowledge that, concussions are going to happen, and it's a sad part of the industry, but it is part of having a contact sport where you tackle people. And it's pretty stiff over the weekend. I think anyone that were to look at that was okay, there was no malice in the tackle. He was just going for a tackle, and to be able to, I don't know, turn him like they were saying in the the post press conference.
Well, they want the duty of care, right? So they want a player in that situation to either roll who you're tackling to the side or don't pin both arms. That's what they're right. Is that unreasonable for a current day player in a fast-paced sport?
I think it's something that the AFL is asking players to learn. Is it unreasonable? I mean, it's very tough.
It happens
in
very
this
quickly,
situation.
though.
It's very hard to do that. I mean, it takes them 4 days to figure out if this is right or wrong, much less the half second to actually do the thing that they're judging, right? So I kind of think it's a pretty wild experience, and it's something that I think that as players, I remember, 2-3 years ago when Jack Inman was getting tackled high, and we had to kind of change the way, teams had to change the way they kind of tackled him and the way he dealt with that, and it's part of the game evolving. I'm always for, I guess, the AFL taking a hard stance against concussion and being able to prevent that, obviously. And I think for me, looking at this situation, the best thing, I think the thing I just want from the AFL is to say, if this is going to be the case, from here on out, we make the same decision if this happens again. And I think it's just clarity around exactly what is going to be a suspension and how long. And I think that's the annoyance and the frustration with a lot of fans is sometimes it's changed because there's a fake lawsuit, that goes to court, and then people would go back and forth, and they can change their answer, and then the AFL looks kind of crazy twice. And I just find the system maybe not exactly the best way to handle it. It seems a bit archaic. But for us as players and stuff, I think we just want consistency around what we see, just so that we know now to be able to adjudicate and be able to teach people how to tackle correctly without getting suspended. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing as a player, what we look for.
But even then, how hard is that though as a player? You get taught to tackle differently and apply these different techniques that the AFL is asking of you, but you're asked to do that in half a second when you're doing a chase down tackle like that. You got to think about all these things that you got to do that the AFL wants. Is that not just a little bit too far?
I haven't had any umpires come to us this year and tell us that the tackling is going to be different. So yeah, it's. I don't tackle a ton of games. Let's be honest. I'm probably probably one of the least experienced guys in the league. But I think there just needs to be some clear communication from the AFL, the tribunal, players that are involved, clubs that are involved, just so that we're all on the same page as to what's acceptable and what's not. Because it is a very hard thing to adjudicate from the AFL side. Obviously, concussion, major issue. They've having these kind of lawsuits come after them and stuff like that. And I think as players, we just want to understand what's acceptable, what's not, so that we can just be able to perform on the weekend within the boundaries that we're given.
Yeah, well, you speak about the guidelines that they're working under, which clearly isn't fit for purpose anymore. We spoke about this in episode 1 as well with a different incident, but I think a solution that I would say is abolishing that table of offences that we currently have.
Yep, agreed.
And if you want to keep a sort of matrix system, you do it for every different type of offence. So a dangerous tackle, you've got this screwed. A high bump, you've got this screwed. Off the ball strike, a tripping offence, whatever the incident is, you look towards a different table of offences, so that when there is a tackle, you go, okay, he's the table for tackles.
Yep.
Maybe the maximum is only 1 week, and that could be downgraded to a fine or something.
Yep.
You're not using the same table for every single offence. I think it's wrong, because in a sport that is so fast-paced, as we said, it's so 360, so many things happen. I don't know why we're trying to assess every different thing that can happen with the same grading table.
Do you kind of find
to me, it doesn't make sense.
Do you find it interesting that you can challenge a decision made by the AFL? You look at other sports around the world, there's not really a challenge system. Here in Australia, it's normalized, but around the world, you just get a fine. You can't really argue it or go back and forth with it. I've always found that interesting.
Challenge a ban.
Yeah, a tribunal in general, to be able to challenge, a ban and then be able to. We have to,
because it's such a complicated game, though.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
If there was a better system, then maybe.
If there was a better system, I think you'd be able to lay down the law and not really have the ability to challenge things. But as we both said, that system does not exist yet. So,
well, no, but maybe we've just come up with the grand plan, mate.
Geez, AFL, feel free to hire us.
Yes,
it wouldn't be bad.
The precedent's been set.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year. That's what's a little bit scary, is that there's 16 games to go, and a tackle like that a lot of people see as a football action has been rubbed out for 3 games.
That will not be the first, and that will not be the last experience of that this year. So I can guarantee that.
So if you're in a prelim final.
Oh, here we go.
Are you tackling anyone?
No, I don't do it anyway. I leave that to the little blokes around me.
Yeah, that's probably smarter. Too.
It'd be a high tackle, it'd be a free kick anyway. So.
From a youngster to a couple of veterans, we said we want to touch on Steele and on Pendles today.
Yeah,
mate, they're so durable. We need to do a deep dive on this. Just how they're able to perform, the way that they are. It's. I mean, Steele's out there winning bloody Anzac medals at the age of 34 or whatever he is.
Yep.
Are you surprised by the level of performance that these guys can sustain even at their current age?
Not really. I mean, I kind of look at players, right, that I guess you can kind of start seeing, the progression of them, over the years as age kind of comes to them. But you look at Steele and Pendles, it's almost as though with age, they're almost just as good, if not getting better. So I think it's a great sign for someone that's getting older like myself. They'll be around a bit longer. But I don't look at them and see, their passion for the game subside. It's just as good as ever. And, I think Pendles and Steele, they're people that speak up in meetings, they're passionate about the game, know their role within the club, know their role within the team, and they execute it very well. I don't think we go to Steele or Pendles and say, we need you to do something so spectacular and no one's going to believe it. They're like, no, we just need you to do the simple things very, very well, and that's what they do, and that kind of provides them with an opportunity to be able to perform like they are over the weekend and consistently be able to do it no matter what their age is.
They both had 30 plus. I've actually come up with a list of possible reasons why they might still be dominating. So let me know if I'm getting
magic
warm.
Potion or something.
Let me know if I'm getting warm.
It's green juice.
I'm gonna tick these off. Cold plunges at 6 a.m.
Pendles he has invested in a cold plunge at his house. Yep.
Okay, yoga in the dark.
I haven't seen that one yet. I could see Pendles doing it. Steele probably not so much.
Bringing their own food containers to team dinners. Any special diets?
Oh, I think they'd be more. I think that with that, it'd be more them actually taking home food from the cafe than them bringing it. I think that'd be saving a meal for them to have to cook at home. Pendles, I will say, Pendles does start. He's starting to get into this like kind of almost like triathlon thing. He's starting to ride his bike into work and stuff like that. So maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure, but
bit of bike riding
could be. Yeah, I don't know. I think they always look for the 1%ers, right?
Yeah,
and they always are consistently trying to challenge themselves to be the best kind of athlete they can. And I understand with age things are going to change, but they continue to try to, make that competitive advantage their own and be able to, I don't know, just like find a way to get better no matter what's going on.
I was going to say, like, how meticulous do they have to be? I mean, as an athlete, you sort of have to be with your training programs, your recovery routines and things like that. Is there genuinely anything out of the ordinary that you notice with them, or are they just professionals and rock up, have a coffee and decide to dominate 20-year-olds because they're bored?
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Pretty much.
They actually do have a coffee every morning together, like sitting in the cafeteria for the guys. So maybe there's something to that. I don't know. Pendles loves his coffee. But no, I think it's just, they just do everything that's asked for them. And I don't think they're like really have been asked to do anything out of their comfort zone. You know, I think it's like all understandable, like what they're kind of asked to do. And, throughout the years, especially now, that's like the little bit of success we've had. I think Pendles was an emergency at some point, so maybe we can be able to rest them if they feel as though they need to be rested, and gives us an opportunity like that to be able to look after some of the older guys. Yeah,
probably helps. I mean, so many people talk about how the Pies are the oldest team in the comp, and every new week that you guys play, you are breaking a new record of being the oldest team because you get a week older. Yeah,
it's like me being the most games played by an American.
All right, if you want to throw that in there, that's fine.
Subtle.
But I mean, when you've got the scale of players that you guys do on your list, they're not just random old blokes that have been around for a long. These are quality A-grade players. Yeah, and the guys have been in the Collingwood system for a long time. Yeah, like Pendles and Steele, obviously, they played in the 2010 Premiership. Like these guys have been around for a long time, have experienced it, know how to handle the pressure that comes with Collingwood, and understand, I guess, the scrutiny that comes with it also. And that provides experience for a lot of the other guys. So there's so much, I think, with what they're doing, how much they've been able to, I guess, prove people wrong. Like if you look at round 1, after round 1 where we lost, or round 0, after we lost to GWS, it was like, oh my gosh, like the world's ending for Collingwood. Yeah, too old. Yeah. How many of those people were saying that, or sitting there biting their tongue now? Like it's just kind of funny to me and how fickle the industry can be sometimes. But it's great to be able to prove to people, that age is something you should look at, I think, but is not everything in anything. And it's being proven year after year in multiple sports around the world that you can play into, a bit of an older age nowadays. Yeah, we look at LeBron and what he's doing as well. LeBron, Tom Brady, all these guys are at the top level. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of, resources that can prove that, you can play into in your 40s, Pendles. Do you reckon he's got it in him? 40? I'd love to see Do you have any doubts? I'd love to see him go as far as Boomer Harvey did. Like, I'd love to see him still playing at that level. Do you reckon he's going to get the record? I don't want to jinx anything. Well said. And well nodded. Yeah, if you got the video version of this, you'll understand what I just did. So Steele's leading the coaches' votes at the moment. Yeah. Alongside Nick. And our Brownlow predictor, Jake Michaels, does a really good job with this every single year. He's got Steele second currently. In the Brownlow? Yes, at the moment. Okay. So watch this space. We'll see if they can keep up this form. Who knows? That'd be great. Yes. It'd be great to see. Imagine that. Oh, it would just be a big... Well, he came second to Tom Mitchell in... Was it 2018? I reckon it was 2018. 2018 or 19. It was the one that Tom had like 40 or 50 touches against us. Yeah. Whatever that year was. Oh, man. And then we recruited him. Yes. Yeah, it'd be great to see Steele. I mean, obviously, I've got a massive love for those two. I think... they're great family men. Not only they're good people on the field, but off the field, they're incredible people that are role model in society. And
yeah, it's great to be able to see them be successful.
Let's shift gears. Let's look at the players who have taken their game to another level in 2025. We're going to look at the most improved plays in the comp through 7 rounds of footy. Champion Data on Monday in the ESPN Footy podcast with Christian Jolie did run through his most improved players in the game. That was a little bit too scientific, though. They were using the Champion Data ratings system. If you do want to check it out, you can. That podcast is live. Have you got 5 names?
I'll go 3.
Okay.
I'll go top 3. So I was looking at kind of who's, top of the statistics board, right? So a little bit of stats in the background.
That's
but
very scientific.
It's very scientific.
Yeah,
And
it's okay.
I'm more of a feel guy too, so this is very out of my norm.
Yeah.
But I did see some people on there, and obviously playing a bit of forward, you got to send some love to the forward. So Jack Higgins, I don't know if many people know this. He's second for goals kicked this year. Very good. Incredible story too. I think we kind of look past that a lot. Like his story's phenomenal. Riley Thilthorpe, I think everyone says this last name wrong, but he is 4th in goal kicking, and I love a big guy, take a big clunk, kick a goal. So I've got him as one of those top 3. And then the last one, George Hewitt. Looking through that, he's 4th in contested possession, 3rd in tackles, 2nd in fantasy points, 3rd in disposals.
Yeah.
I think if you're a top 5 for any of those, you're pretty happy with how your year's going. But to be hitting 4 of those right there shows you're having a pretty phenomenal year.
Yeah, he's been all 3 of those players have been really good, so they're probably good shouts.
Who do you have?
Ned Long.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I hate to say too much Collingwood stuff.
You hate being
it's
biased,
like,
don't you?
Yeah, you hate being biased.
Yeah,
but I think anyone that's looked at Ned this year is going, yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah, he's playing a good
He's
role.
going well.
He's playing a very good role. He complements the rest of the midfield very
Yeah.
well. I think with what he brings, that grunt, that in and under style of contested
pressure, tackles, everything that you want. And then you get people like Pendle's going there, and he does all the skillful stuff, right?
Yeah, so it works.
And then Nick Dacos here and there,
Yeah. Ned Long, Jack Silvani, another blue. I wanted to throw in there as well. I don't know what the hell you've just dropped.
Nah, nothing. Just move on.
Yeah, the Blues have been screaming out for that second key back for a while to help out Jacob Wiedering, but Silvani has filled those shoes to aplomb this season. I reckon he's been really, really good in that new role. He's just broken his hand, so he's out for a couple of weeks, but like what he's been doing. Ben Long as well, Ned's namesake, been huge for the Suns this year in their forward line. Another forward like Higgins, who should be in All-Australian contention at the moment, I would say. He's adding a lot to them. Paul
Some
Curtis.
different names up there.
Yeah, there are.
The forwards,
there are.
Like. Yeah, it's good to see.
Yes.
Who else you got?
Paul Curtis.
Yep. Well, unfortunately, he'll be missing the next 3 games.
Yeah, indeed. We just put him in our rolling All-Australian team this week, but probably going to come out next week, I reckon. A shining light for North this season, though, and I love watching Joel Frazier play. So he is only 19 years old, but he's a very entertaining player. He's going to be very good for a long time. He had some good games last year.
Yeah.
But he's only continued that this season for the Doggies. And fun fact, his last 2 games of this season have been his highest rated games of his career to date. So just wanted to show him some love. But most improved players.
Solid list.
Pretty good list. Yeah,
It's
we
good
should
to see.
revisit this.
I'm down. We'll go maybe mid-year and then like 3/4 of the way, maybe even finals.
Yeah, we'll see what changes.
I like it.
We'll see what changes. Mate, last week we spoke about potentially taking a page out of the NBA's playbook with regards to the playoffs or a play-in system ahead of their playoffs, a wildcard round perhaps for us. This week I want to look at the NFL and see if we can learn something from what they do with their NFL draft, which was held in Green Bay last week. I think it was 600,000 people showed up for that. It was
draft.
It was extravagant.
Crazy.
It was a spectacle.
It is insane. It's nuts to think like 600,000. I mean, you look at the game, you might get 60 or 70,000.
Yeah.
But like,
It's nuts.
to get an NFL draft, and this is
It's like 3 times the population.
wild. Like Green Bay is not a place that is heavily populated. Like that is like what you would look at as pretty much the team that is evolved from community sport. Like Green
you
Bay,
been up there?
Wisconsin. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. The coolest thing is like
I'd love to go to Lambeau Field.
Lambeau Field, and you get the visual whenever it's snowing, right? And you see like all the steps are all leading to the stadium, like all in the snow, like across every single sidewalk. That's so cool. And it's like one of the I think it's probably one of the most like historically significant kind of teams in the NFL. And to get this draft there was pretty neat. I think people would just loved it. And most people probably don't make a huge, vacation out to Green Bay, Wisconsin very often. So I think to have a cool event like that was pretty awesome. And 600,000 people. It's not an easy thing to put together. That's for sure.
No, but the event side of the draft and just how it all works over there, it's obviously, as we said, a massive spectacle. We don't have that here with our draft. Our draft is a bit formal, it's efficient, it works, it's different, maybe it's okay that it is different, but do you ever see Australia or the AFL trying to introduce something like the NFL do with their drafts? Show it up a little bit.
The AFL draft is very stale. Is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. The product is a bit drier than what the NFL do.
And I think,
but we are different.
One of the reasons might be because look at AFL list. There's 44 people on the list. One player, can definitely help your list be successful, but it's not going to completely change it. Like if you draft a quarterback in the NFL, like that can totally change the trajectory of your team for the next 10 to 15 years.
Agreed.
And the same thing with the NBA, right? Like these players can really make a huge difference. And AFL players can, but I don't think to the extent of maybe some of these other players in the other drafts. But I do love how, people get dressed up in these fancy suits and these chains and like all the entertainment to it, right? And I look at the AFL, everyone's wearing like a Coach League, polo, and I'm just kind of going, God, just like give us some character, But I think everyone's too afraid once they get drafted. They don't want to like have that rolling in the team meeting. Is the first vision of them.
You see the NFL, but they have those like huge made for TV moments, right? Like the stage entrances, the suits, as you said, renting out the jewelry pieces, hugging Roger Goodell when they get up on stage as well.
It's nuts.
Do you reckon the kids here would actually relish that when they get drafted?
I think they'd love it. I don't think Australia would love it too much, like the tall poppy syndrome thing. I think.
Oh, that is rife.
It would be. You would have to really drip feed this in. Like you wouldn't be able to go from 0 to 100. Like it would be something that you'd have to look at. Feeding a few things into the draft every single year to make it to that. And it would take a while. But I would love to see a bit more of like the back end drama of the draft, right? You talk about trading picks. You talk about like all these things that happen, these phone calls between people and stuff like that. Give like all access to all the recruitment managers, their lines of cell phones and stuff like that, to be able to understand like what's going on behind the scenes, and then buy into the drama of that a bit. I think people love the entertainment side of that, and just to go, oh smokes, holy smokes, like we're trading, this pick for like 3 picks in this, this section of the draft or whatever.
We do have pick swaps on draft night as well.
Yeah, and I think it'd be cool to be able to have that, like almost put out in like a documentary style experience for people to understand live, because it happens in the NFL, right? Like all of a sudden you got the draft board and it goes, oh, they've traded the pick for this person or that, and I think that side of it is quite entertaining, and I think people in Australia would really enjoy to understand how much stress goes into that day and being able to pick the players and father sons, and having to put the bid in for the father son and things like that. Like there's so many good stories on the day you could definitely lean into. I'd love to see a bit more of that.
I want to know which current AFL player you reckon would absolutely own an NFL style draft. Who would be rocking up in the 3-piece Gucci suit?
Dude,
I actually know. To be fair, I thought about a teammate of yours. Just for
did you?
Worth. Yeah, I want to see if you can guess.
3-piece Gucci suit. That would be so good.
Not that I know them, but I just feel like he would rock it. He'd absolutely love this.
I'll go one current and one past. I think we saw this with AFLX. Boys got to dress up.
Yeah, that was good.
That was awesome. Eddie Betts. He's my past player I'd love to see, because he would just be...
He'd come with style.
Dude, 100%.
Yeah.
He'd be rocking something very flashy. And then the current player I'd love to see is like Jeremy Cameron. I think he's just got charisma with him. I don't know if he'd show up in a suit. I don't know if he'd show up like straight off the farm on a tractor.
He'd have the farm
I just have no idea what I'd get from him. But I think those are the two people I'd look at.
Imagine him rolling in on a tractor.
He'd be cracking open a beer, just rolling in like, oh, I get drafted? Who am I going to? Like...
Oh, that'd be elite.
Who do you have from my team?
Isaac Quaynor.
Oh, cute. That's a great
would?
call, actually. And he'd smell fantastic. He just has so many
He'd
clothes.
be carrying one of his lines of aftershave,
Right, he just got so much. I saw Paddy Lipinski put on cologne before training the other day, and I was
you got to smell good.
He's right next to Q, and I was like,
you got to smell good. If you smell good, you play good. It's like the Saints with their Guernseys. Not to bring them up again, but if you're not performing
look good,
at least look
feel
good.
You play good,
at least
right?
look good. Any of the Hawks forwards as well, I reckon.
I think the whole Hawks
Connor
team would be gold.
Nick Watson, Jack Innovan.
Yeah.
I reckon they'd love doing that.
Yeah, they'd be all about it. And Hawks media team would just get around it.
Yeah.
It'd be good fun.
Yeah, they'd have all the big chains on, for sure. For sure. Mate, let's round it out. Like we always do, some bold predictions.
Yes.
I want you to go first this time.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have two? You said you have two.
I'm going to double up and put it into one. This is obviously the segment we call Don't Be Surprised.
Don't be surprised
where we make statements that might be true, as in, Oh, I can't remember. I've made a few that are very questionable.
I made one last week telling everyone to look out for
nailed it.
two bottom 10 teams,
You
being
nailed it.
Fremantle and Carlton. They are still both going to make the 8. Don't you worry about that.
So we'll see. We're
Not to pat,
halfway
not,
through the season.
not to pat the back.
Halfway
But
through the season, we'll reassess. I've got my. Don't be surprised. I don't know if you've noticed this, but we'll say first one: Will Ashcraft to win his dad's medal. It's called the medal for the best on ground is actually named after his father, which would be cool for Will to be able to win over the weekend.
no Levi?
Or
Or either or.
yeah, well, either or. But I think it'd be cool for Will to win it, and that would be such a cool family moment. So I'll say that. Don't be surprised. But the second one is AFL's got a cop bit of backlash here because I don't know if many people know that Q Clash is going on. Then there's a Sydney Derby up north. But I feel like there's been no media coverage. And it is one of the biggest Q Clashes that's ever happened.
They're both massive games.
Huge games.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there looking at Sydney, who's 2-5 right now. Could go 2-6. GWS, very good team, as everyone
4-3,
knows.
but lost their last couple.
Very good team, everyone knows. And contenders for sure for finals. And I don't feel like I've really heard much about it. And I'm like, surely these are the two teams that you're trying to grow the audience of, grow the market of. And you just kind of almost let this huge game that you could promote and make a big deal just kind of almost fall through the cracks at the moment, I feel like. It just blows my mind that these games are not on a Thursday and Friday night. Why aren't we playing, besides Eston versus North Melbourne on Thursday night at Marvel, and then St Kilda versus, I don't even sure who they play on Friday. Fremantle at Marvel Stadium again.
Yes.
Why are we not putting the Q Clash and the Sydney Derby on Thursday and Friday night?
Yeah, they're good points. There is a public
Blows my
holiday
mind.
in Queensland, which is why I think it helps that Brisbane and Gold Coast are on the Sunday, day off the next day.
Yeah, I mean,
But you're not wrong about the Friday night spectacle. I'd love to see like a Adelaide showdown as
yeah,
well. Get all
have
the
a
derbies.
rivalry round.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was an opportunity missed. So fair whack.
Yeah.
There you go, AFL.
I like it though.
another
This
one.
is what we like here on Red Time. I welcome this. Don't be surprised if the AFL starts televising or at least streaming tribunal hearings in the future.
Ooh,
I like
interesting.
this. So I reckon this would be a massive win for transparency, and I think everyone would tune in.
It is-
Absolutely everyone would tune in, wouldn't they? I think there might be something legal that is the reason right now why it isn't happening. I don't know, but I'd love to see it happen. Imagine being able to get the fly on the wall access to why Paul Curtis is getting his 3-week ban. I know we have blogs and stuff, but God, it'd be fun to watch.
I mean, as a person who's been in a tribunal,
Would you like it or not?
I mean, my tribunal went for like 2 or 3 hours.
It's public
and
anyway. It's public anyway.
It was like a trial. It was boring as bad shit. It was seriously one of the most boring things I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
I was told the outcome before I went in there, and you sit there and the media just sits for 3 hours and you just debate over a 10-second clip, and then both sides give their kind of explanation. And I think it would be. I think you look at it and you go, "Oh, I'd love to have inside access." Do I think you would watch the whole tribunal? Hell no.
I'm a sicko.
There's
I'm
no
a sicko.
way.
I would.
You would watch the whole tribunal.
Yeah.
You would watch a court case over whether or not a decision in half a second
Did you not watch
goes one way or the other.
Johnny Depp trial? Everyone was all over that. That's interesting enough.
Okay, well, that one, obviously,
It's different.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was,
But still.
Amber Heard him was an insane experience with itself. But
the numbers would be huge, I'm telling you.
How many there's 4 tribunal cases over the weekend?
We had 3, I think.
3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me you'd be interested in
No, not all of them. Not all of them. Just the big ones. Like Paul Curtis is intriguing enough to at least tune into.
I can see. I'll give you this. Live YouTube it. If you want to check
Stream
it
it,
out,
that's-
stream it. You
Yeah.
can check it out. But as a person who's been involved in one,
Yeah.
believe me, it is nothing interesting. It is one of the most
So-
boring experiences you'll have. And I think the media also kind of loves, the secrecy to it, because if the AFL goes into that thing and doesn't look too good coming out of it, I mean, think of how many times the AFL has been proven wrong. Like Patrick Cripps has done it like 4 times. Like, think how many times they would be proven wrong. It would just make them look bad. So I don't think they'll ever give access, just because they want to make sure they, are looked in a positive light, which I totally get. Why would you do that? Even asked North Melbourne this week. But I think it's something that might be interesting to you, but I don't think the AFL will ever do. I'd love to see it at some point with the bigger ones that are very controversial calls, right? To have a bit of, see-through of what's going on. I can't see it happening anytime soon, though.
No, but you said before that you wouldn't like it, and now you're just saying you would like it. You're backflipping.
No, I would
This is
like
the
it
first
just
time
for
you
like
backflip. This is
for
the
like
first time you
one of
backflip.
them. There was 4 over the weekend. Do I care about the other 3? No.
Fair.
There's only one I really care about.
Fair.
So I think there's some of them as a player where I go, maybe I do have to change things. Maybe I do have to change the way I tackle or something. Like, that's actually valid information for me to know. So I might be tuning into that one. I don't know. But the other ones I just would have no care for whatsoever.
So not my best call, you don't reckon?
I don't think it's terrible. I just think there's room for improvement for everything, right?
Gee whiz.
I think
hitting me left, right,
we've
and
said this
centre
before.
today.
I think the tribunal's ridiculous within itself.
Yep.
I've said that multiple times.
That's
I think
fair.
it's a very archaic way of going about figuring these things out. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Live stream it, and then maybe they'll cancel it.
You're not alone with thinking that, by the way.
That's
it.
That's it.
Big game this week against the Cats.
Huge game Saturday night.
Yes.
Yes. Very exciting.
Go well. You're going to celebrate Jack Crisp highlights package maybe tomorrow.
I think we'll probably celebrate his TikTok package probably more than this.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fair.
He's great on socials, but no, credit to him. He's had an incredible career. Moved over from Brisbane, obviously, and to play this many games in a row is just phenomenal. Like I can't fathom how it's happened. Like probably a bit of luck with not getting sick or injured randomly and stuff like that. But it's a credit to him. So happy for him and his family. And his little girls are going to be going absolutely nuts. I'm sure it'll be very beautiful to see.
Yep, it'll be fun to see indeed. Hey mate, go well. Thanks for coming in again. We'll speak to you next week. To everyone at home, thanks for listening or watching. Enjoy the footy. Don't forget to put your tips in this week as well, and we'll speak to you next time.